James Potter, Remus Lupin, Sirius Black, Peter Pettigrew, Paul the Bear, and the Prisoner of Azkaban by gonzoclock. Chapter 15. Notes. Gore mention, although it's not too descriptive. Harry closes his eyes and swallows again, trying to keep calm as he feels the wand point press into his windpipe. He can't tell if it's that or the adrenaline that's making it hard for him to breathe. Pettigrew is holding his arm so tightly that Harry is sure that it will bruise. Harry considers, not for the first time, trying to wrench out of his grasp and take his wand. The thing is, he'd experienced firsthand how quickly the man had managed to wrestle Harry's wand from him. 12 years as a rat did nothing but hone the man's reflexes, apparently. Harry opens his eyes just in time to see Hermione, Ron, young Snape, what the fuck, and young Lily, what the fuck, disappear. He doesn't gasp though, doesn't even react. Pettigrew hasn't noticed yet, so maybe. Pettigrew whirls around, and Harry lets out a little sigh. So much for that. Oh well, he says after a moment. Looks like one of you gets to die after all. Here, Fred, come here. Harry's heart gets lodged in his throat as Fred walks stiffly over to Peter, eyes darting to Harry. No, Harry chokes. No, don't. Let's just go. Yeah? I won't struggle, I swear. Pettigrew laughs, and for the first time, Harry realizes the man has gone crazy. Apparently, 12 years as a rat not only hones your reflexes, but it also breaks your brain. Oh, he won't suffer, don't worry. The portrait door slams open, and everyone jumps. Pettigrew's fingernails dig into Harry's arm, and Harry can feel a line of blood run down his arm. Severus Snape. The older one says, as he climbs into the tower and looks around. Can't say I'm impressed, but too scarred for my tastes. What are you doing here? Pettigrew asks, eyes narrowed. Snape waves a dismissive hand. I found a couple of students wandering around, and felt it prudent to waylay them and ask them for an explanation. One of them was me, so as you might expect, I was rather impatient to clarify the situation. Pettigrew readjusts his grip on Harry's arm, and Harry flinches away. He distinctly registers James ushering Fred over to where he and Sirius are standing. Hereford is crouched, looking between Snape and Pettigrew nervously. Well? Pettigrew asks. Well, what? Snape asks, raising an eyebrow. They told me everything. And? Pettigrew asks, licking his lips. With a jolt, Harry realizes that the man is afraid of Snape. Right-hand man to Voldemort, indeed. This might be bad. This might be really bad. Snape quirks his lip in a smile and inclines his head. A chill goes down Harry's spine. What can I do to help? Pettigrew lets out a little laugh. There's the Severus I remember. How about you? Pettigrew's grip on Harry's arm goes lax, and his wand clashes to the floor. Harry blinks, then reaches his hand up to feel the warm wetness that's very suddenly covering a good half of his face and shoulder. He pulls his hand down and blinks again at his blood-stained fingers. Pettigrew has fallen to his knees, hands scrambling ineffectively to try and stem the blood spraying from his neck. Just seconds later, he falls to the ground, completely dead. Harry whirls around, only to see Pete standing inches away, bloody wand in hand. Pete says, then wipes the wand on Pettigrew's shirt. Sticky, he mutters. I don't get the appeal of that at all. 5 points to Gryffindor, Snape says, calm as anything. Everyone turns to look at him as one. That's what it takes? Fred asks, looking like he's about to throw up. Murder? That was clearly self-defense, old Sirius Black croaks from where he's transformed. Or possibly suicide. Also, fuck you for scaring me like that, you bastard. As if you don't deserve all that and more, Snape snaps. I should have let him kill you first. What's happening? Harry asks, feeling like he might fall over. You couldn't see very well because of where you were, young Sirius says, voice shaking a bit. But Professor Snape came in and distracted Old Man Wormy long enough for Pete to transform, and get close enough to do that. I had no idea wands could puncture an artery like that, Sirius breaks off, shuddering. James is doubled over at the waist, retching. A pale-faced Remus is rubbing his back. Snape sighs heavily and waves his wand, summoning a sheet to cover the now still body. The portrait slams open again, and Professor Lupin is standing in the doorway, panting hard. Lily, young Snape, Hermione, and Ron are all peering in carefully. "What?" Lupin growls, then pales as he sees Black. Black says. He lifts a shaky hand up in a bit of a wave. "Long time no see?" "What part of keep an eye on them did you misunderstand?" Snape asked dryly. "Oh, don't you dare!" Lupin growls, pushing his way into the common room, past Professor Snape, and striding over to where Black is with no sign of slowing. Black holds his hands up placatingly. "I can explain." Professor Lupin has cut him off by grabbing Black's face in his hands and slamming their mouths together. Black looks taken aback, but then closes his eyes and sinks into the kiss. Harry, despite everything, wrinkles his nose. Gross. Ha! Lupin and Black break away from each other, looking over at where James is pointing and grinning. He's still doubled over, but evidently he's taken a break from viscerally reacting to the death of an older person in an older version of one of his best friends to gloat to his other best friends. Harry blinks. James has some messed up priorities. Remus and Sirius, the young ones, are staring wide-eyed at the two older versions of themselves. They dance a glance at each other, then look away, both blushing furiously. "I told you, you bastards!" "Oh, hang on. I'm going to be sick again," James says, before returning to his retching. Lupin looks back over to Black. "Sorry," he says hoarsely. "I should have asked." "You really don't need to apologize," Black says, looking at Lupin with stars in his eyes. Then he pauses. "Although, do you know how long it's been since I brushed my teeth? That could not have been pleasant for you." "Really, really wasn't," Lupin agrees. Snape rolls his eyes, looking a tad nauseated. Then Harry stops paying attention to them in favor of watching as Hermione and Ron clamber into the common room and bolt over to where he's standing. All at once, everything crashes into him, and he lets out the breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. Harry feels numb, and his arm hurts. Hermione waves her wand over him, and Harry blinks as he feels a cleaning charm settle over him and clear the blood away, leaving behind a subtle antiseptic smell. "Thanks," he says reflectively. Then he looks down at where Pettigrew is laying and feels abruptly sick. He looks back up at Hermione and Ron, who are looking at him with a concerned expression. Harry wraps his shaking arms around himself. Hermione grimaces, and Ron scratches the back of his neck. "Hey, come on, let's go sit over here," Ron says finally. Harry goes without protest, as Hermione ushers him to one of the seats closest to the fireplace. Harry sits down heavily, and Hermione and Ron sit next to him, perched on the arm of the chair. "Hug, please," Harry says, curling up. That's all they need. Hermione and Ron sink into the chair, pressing close to Harry and holding him as he shakes. Harry doesn't want to think about what just happened, so he lets himself get lost in the discussion that's happening on the other side of the room. 12 years, Professor Lupin says hoarsely. "You were in there for, oh my god." "Hey, don't worry about it. Totally forgiven. I thought you were a spy, so—" "Spare me the catch-up," Snape cuts in. "We have actual things to worry about." "Potter, the younger one," he amends, as both Harry and James look up. "Do you need to go to the hospital wing?" "No, sir," Harry says reflexively. "Yes," Hermione says. His arm is bleeding. "It's just a scratch." "Probably infected," Ron mutters. Harry notices that Ron is shaking too, and reaches out to grab his hand. "Someone needs to call Dumbledore," Lupin says abruptly. "He can take it from here." Harry, James, Hermione, Ron, Lily, and Severus all groan as one. Then they look at each other, blinking. Remus and Sirius are still busy, not looking at each other, and Pete isn't doing much at all, other than looking down at the body. Snape sighs but nods. "If you wouldn't mind." "I'll get him," Fred says, hopping up from where he'd been sitting down. His face is pale. Lupin looks hesitant. "You just went through—" "Please," Fred says, rocking back and forth on his heels. "I need something. I need to do something." "Go, Weasley," Snape says. Tell him it's urgent, but nothing more than that. Fred nods and presumably goes to do just that. Can we maybe move? James says, then retches again. Can we maybe move the body? Remus and Sirius turn to him as one, then help him up over to one of the seats. Lupin waves his wand and summons a couple of blankets, which he then has wrap around the student's shoulders. He shrugs his off, then goes to sit down on the couch next to the others. Pete, James says, you alright? Pete says, his face is blank. Let me think. Harry thinks the boy might be making a tasteless joke, but James nods seriously and lets Pete sit and actually think it over for a moment. No, not really, Pete finally decides. I expect I'll get over it in a couple days, though. Do you want a hug? Sirius edges. No, that's alright. Thank you, though. Hello, Lily says, sliding into the seat across from where Harry is bundled up in blankets and friends. My name is Lily. It's nice to meet you. Apparently you're my son? Harry says, feeling a wave of emotions crash over him. He stares over at her, unsure of what to say, or if he's even capable of saying anything at all. Maybe we'll have that discussion later then, Lily decides. I'm glad you didn't die though. Wait, Harry's mum and Snape were friends? Ron asks suddenly. Lily, Hermione, and Severus all turn to look at Ron incredulously. Harry personally thinks that it's a fair question. No way it took you this long to realize that, Hermione says. I had other things on my mind, Ron says hotly. Once again, Harry thinks that's completely fair. More like siblings, really, Lily says. Severus turns to look at her incredulously, and she raises an eyebrow. What? Tell me you don't think the same way. Severus says and clears his throat. He looks uncharacteristically vulnerable. I definitely do, and have. It's just, you have a sister already. That doesn't matter. I can have more than one sibling. Plus, you don't know I still have a sister, Lily says, shrugging. She might have died, or wants nothing to do with me. Hermione and Ron share an uncomfortable look over Harry's head. Harry can practically feel it. Oh, she's still alive, James pipes up. You'll just maybe wish she weren't, after you find out what she did to our son. Lily's expression turns stormy. Severus looks like he's trying in vain to recover from James casually referring to Harry as James and Lily's son. What exactly did Sunny do? She growls, looking over at Harry. Harry says again, another wave of emotions crashing over him. He really is seconds away from throwing up. We'll talk about it later, James says, darting a glance over at Harry. Sorry, Harry. No kidding, Ron says, glaring at the two. Lay off him, why don't you? Jeez, ever heard of being sensitive? Both Lily and James go to respond when the door to the common room opens once more. The portrait door swings open softly, but everyone jumps anywhere. I was told it was urgent, Albus Dumbledore chuckles, as his sharp blue eyes take in the scene. But I feel as though Mr. Weasley perhaps understood the severity of the situation. Hello, Miss Evans, Mr. Snape. It is nice to see you again, as you are now. Severus and Lily nod hesitantly, and Professor Snape's expression goes stormy, then smooths over again. Harry would wonder what that's about, but if he paused to think about anything in any sort of detail right now, he'll burst into tears. And Sirius, I take it we were misinformed of the nature of the Fidelius? That's right, Black says, shooting a venomous glare over where Pettigrew's body lies. Twitched at last second. I'm truly sorry, Dumbledore says tiredly. Black nods stiffly. Dumbledore waves his wand and vanishes the body and bloodstains, presumably to somewhere it can be collected by hours later. Then turns back to where Lily and Severus are sitting. Well, Mr. Snape, Miss Evans, if you would come with me, we'll get you resorted, and you can start term with the others. I'm afraid you won't have long to prepare, as term starts in a few days, but... Sounds good to us, Headmaster, Lily pipes up. The forced cheer on her face makes Harry feel disturbingly like he's looking in a mirror, so he tears his gaze away. Have my parents died yet? Severus asks flatly. Dumbledore turns to look at him, expression sorrowful. My boy, Yes, Snape cuts in. Severus nods, and Harry sees Lily relax minutely. Hmm, that would be interesting if Harry was planning on thinking about anything ever again. Too bad that's not on the table. What should I do? Black asks. You could hide us in Grimmauld while they get your name cleared, Sirius pipes up. You're Lord Black, so it'll listen to you. What? I was disowned. Apparently not, Sirius says, shrugging. I could have been living in a house this whole time, Black sputters. Hang on, how do you even know? Ask, creature, Sirius says. Then a flash of pain flickers across his face. James squeezes his shoulder, wanting to find out about Regulus. Oh, Black says, expression going sad. I'm sorry, kid. Me too, Sirius mutters. In the meanwhile, if I could get the stone, Dumbledore cuts in, eyes twinkling, I dare say that it's caused more than enough excitement. The stone is suddenly weighing heavily in Harry's pocket. I'm sorry, but it actually disappeared when Lily and Snape were brought forward, Headmaster. Hermione pipes up. I think that was too much for it, and I gave out. Dumbledore turns his gaze on her, and she meets his eyes unabashedly. Harry thinks he sees Professor Snape wince minutely. So it did, Dumbledore says after a moment, then brushes his robes off. Very well, Lord Black, if you'll have your elf escort you to your ancestral home, I will send you a missive the moment we can get your name cleared. Miss Evans, Mrs. Snape, let's get you resourced. Harry sees Professor Snape and narrows his eyes at Hermione, who is the picture of innocence. Harry turns to look at her. Do you? Lita, Hermione whispers. Harry had warned his friends about the headmaster's legitimacy only a couple weeks ago. There's no way Hermione learned occlumency so quick, right? Notes. Run. So Sirius Black was actually innocent all along? Remus. Oh, interesting. Hey, so I'll be right back. Hermione. Was he putting on chapstick? Okay, so yeah, we got some funny scenes yet. Oh my god, I genuinely, when I first decided to read this, I was like, oh yeah, no, this is super, super silly fic. It'll be so fun. I'll put crack in the, what do I call it? Like, the thumbnail, picture, whatever. I've got no clue what I'm gonna call it. But yeah, I'll put crack fic there to help summarize it. Oh, it's so, so silly. No, it's not. Why is it so, so dark? What the hell? Anyway, cool. Old Pettigrew, he's dead. Thanks, Pete. He's gone now. No more problems. We don't have to deal with him escaping. Yeah, fun. Two more chapters left, so then we'll be done with this one. I have to go through my tabs, and I may have opened a couple more tabs, just a couple more, and turns out, by the way, in case you didn't know, if you use a Ecosia, if you have more than 100 tabs open, it just shows the infinity symbol. Where it used to tell me how many tabs I had. I'm like, I don't know, you have more than 100 though. Whoops. I need to clear out some tabs this way, which you would think I just do one shots. Except for the fact I need to go through all my the ones that I have open. I need to actually do that now, and then probably record a whole bunch of things soon, or at the very least have it organized on what I'm going to be doing. Okay, I'm rambling again. Gosh darn it. Hope you enjoyed this one. I will see you guys tomorrow, because, well, tomorrow for you. I definitely am going to have a video up the next day. The day next. Oh my god, I'm tired. I'm not even that tired. I didn't need water though. I didn't drink water before I started, and you could probably hear it while I was speaking at the end. My just cut out. My voice just cut out. I was like, oops. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you for tomorrow's video. Bye bye.